Hey guys, it's Jen. I wanted to show you the layouts that I created on International Scrapbook Day in my Facebook group. I did most of these live. The first three I created before, but this is using a kit that I put together using mostly scraps of patterned paper and then some embellishments that I wanted to get used up and a few new things. And that video is on my channel. I will try to remember to link it below or at the end of the video. But these first couple are the ones that I used. They're just, the challenge for this one was to create a scrap kit and use it. So this was using that, and I had some people wondering how I would use, I had a set of small stamps from Schow and wondering how I would use those. And I used those here kind of dotted around in my embellishment clusters. I think smaller stamps are a great way to add a little something to your journaling cluster or to stamp like you would another embellishment. So that's how I used them here, and you can see the scraps creating the background and kind of an L-shaped design for this layout. So that's the first one that I created. Then there was this one, which I wanted to use up these Dear Lizzie thickers because they were falling off the sheet. And so I decided to do something that I've done before. I scrap lifted myself. I used them all and kind of created a grid or a nestling effect all on one side of the layout. This is a great way to use a ton of stuff on one layout without it getting overwhelming, is you leave the other half fairly open and blank. So I love that look. And the other thing that I would mention is I also used the Schow smaller stamps here, just kind of, there's just a couple words, so I just added them in like that, and then I balanced them with my date here. I used a smaller photo, but you could definitely use a 4x6 photo, or you could use multiple photos, just depending on what you have. But I added in a few little hearts for some different dimension, and a lot of these have words on them. And so for my title, I think it's important that you have something different and separate it from the words. So you can see that it's separated by the photo, so that they're not next to each other. It's clear that this is the title because it's separate from it, and also because it has a different style. These are kind of whimsical and handwritten looking, and these are very like clear, bold kind of alphas, and so it really works. So that is the second one I created. And then this one I also created from that kit, and I used, you can see I used a bunch of the scraps in the background. I used some, this was one of the papers, it's a Schow paper, and I just cut these words out and used them for my title. I used the word to represent the word to, but I also used letter stickers just in case it wasn't super clear. And then this was cut from a journaling card from Ali Edwards, so that's a great way to use those. And this was cut from a journaling card from Felicity Jane. So I like to cut up 3x4 cards, and then I also used one to do my journaling. So that was a fun one to create, and you can see all of the different layers in the background. I think that's a fun way to use up scraps, just find a bunch that kind of coordinate and use them all together. This was for the second challenge, which was use it up, which is use an entire package of something. And this can be use up the rest of an entire package of something, like I did on that second layout I showed you where I used a whole bunch of stuff. That would have qualified for that as well. But this one I used some basic gray slide frames and used them to create a background behind my photos. And I felt like that these particular transparencies worked really well because they look kind of grayish, and they give you the feel of x-rays, and these are photos at the doctor, and so I thought that worked out really well for that. So I used that entire package all just layered behind my photos. I love the way that turned out. And then I used, this is another journaling card that's cut up from Ali Edwards, and then this is also from a journaling card, this Don't Worry. And then I used some washi tape for a border. I'm trying to use up more of my washi tape. And I also used washi tape to look like I taped some of those down. And I really like the way that looks too. So that was for the second challenge, which is Use It Up. Now, if you're watching this, well, it'll probably be too late by the time you see this. I had the challenges open for a week, so the challenges are now over. But if you want to get in on more challenges, head over to my Facebook group at CraftyJenSchow. Oh, no. Sorry, not CraftyJenSchow.com. That's my website. You can head over there too. But head over to the Crafty Use It or Lose It Facebook group. It's always linked in the video description if you want to check out the stuff that we do there. I give away freebies. I do challenges and stuff. And it's just a fun place to share your work. So there we go. This third one, the challenge was to use one of my free cut files. So I had a couple of free cut files available in the group that this week. They'll stay available in the group if you want to download them later. But this cut file was a frame. It has 3 openings in it that you could use. And then if you didn't have a way to cut a cut file, the alternative option is to create a layout on a dark background. So I created this live in my group and everyone voted to have me do it on this black background, which is very different for me, but it was a good challenge and I like the way that it turned out. It's very fun and this humongous title works really great because it lines up perfectly with the frames, and so I thought that was a fun one to create. And I used people, these little girls, which are puffy stickers from Hobby Lobby, and I just think they're really cute. So anyway, that was the next one that I created. And then the next one is a sketch challenge. So this was a sketch that was available in the group that day as well. And I used, the other challenge that I gave myself was to try to use up some of the llama elements that I have in my stash that are kind of tricky to use, and I feel like this worked out really well. The other thing that I was struggling with was the colors of these photos, and I think that I ended up with a layout that I'm happy with, and I could not figure out for a long time how to scrapbook these and how to include the cutesy little llama with these more serious photos, and so I think it ended up well. This uses a new letter stamp set that will be that's available for pre-order in my shop, and I'll link that below as well. And just super fun to create this one. Just very simple. Use some washi tape to create this little interest in between the photos. So there we go. And then the last layout was a grab 5 challenge, which is Adele from Inky Quill does these grab 5 challenges on her YouTube channel, and a lot of people had suggested that they would like to see a challenge like that. So I grabbed this transparency, which is from a Vicky Boutin mixed media paper pad. This is what the front cover looks like, and I used that for my background. And then I also used some Chamel patches from her Box of Crayons collection. I used some Amy Tangerine dimensional stickers. I used some let's see, that was 1, 2, 3. The 4th thing that I chose was these alphabets, and then the 5th thing, what was the 5th thing? I don't think it was the puffy stickers. Oh, the 5th thing was these little cute clips, mini hearts from Doodlebug. They're so fun. I've had them forever and not used them. And I think it looks super cute on here. I wish I could have gotten more on there, but it was a good, like, motivation for me to use these again in the future because I just really like them. So this is just a layout about my daughter doing art. At the beginning of my Facebook Live, I was playing around with some watercolor and I just created this part of the title, and I think it turned out really fun. I like this kind of cross design, so there's a bunch of embellishment across the middle, and then I had more things I wanted to add, so I went ahead on the vertical as well. This kind of layout works really well even if you just do it on the horizontal. I think that would have worked, and I embellished definitely by color. So that was a really fun one to create. So those are the layouts that I created for International Scrapbook Day. We had lots of fun in my group, so if you were over there, thanks so much for joining me. And if you weren't, be sure to join the group so that you can catch in next time we have some challenges. In January, we had a fun like stash busting month where we had all month to create a bunch of projects, and it was a really fun time. So with lots of challenges. So I hope that you have enjoyed. I hope that you'll join me again here soon. If you have any questions, just leave a comment in the video description below. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again soon with another crafty video.